Welcome to Go Bucks. We are here. It's almost game time. It's just maybe an hour or so away from Michigan and Washington playing in the national title game. Absolutely awesome. I'm super excited. We will talk about the keys to the game. We'll talk about the final predictions. We'll give the final predictions in case anything's changed since last night. But we'll go over that all up next. But one thing I wanted to talk about is we are on Twitter now. MGO Bucks is on Twitter. Please follow us on Twitter/X, and it's at Real MGO Bucks.
Twitter's never going to die. I'm so happy that you actually said Twitter because everybody still knows this is Twitter.
I totally gaffed on that.
No. It's still Twitter X for everybody. I still use Twitter X and all of our stuff for my podcast. So
it's too big of a brand. Like you can't get it out of your head.
Major business gaffe to try to eliminate such a well-known brand.
Exactly.
You're in marketing, isn't that right?
That's very true. That's how I know all this.
Yep.
But yeah. Please follow us. Be awesome. Please subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. But here we go. So we got Jason back on the channel. He's got his own awesome podcast called All Things Blues and Southern Rock.
Yep.
I put the link to your channel down in the comments, or in the description. So definitely go check that out. It's an awesome podcast, interviewing awesome stars from like young and old.
Yep.
So if you like that thing, go check it out.
If Jason, you think rock music is dead, you're going to find some new music that you're really going to like. So don't ever think that.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, go check that out. So Matt, the exceptional Buckeye, is actually representing tonight. Matt, how are you feeling?
Well, I was going to respond to Jason's comment really quick. The only thing dead is the participation by our Maryland Terps fan, Diego.
Yes.
That should drive our viewership, though.
Yeah.
Diego is destined to make an appearance on this show at some point. So he will pop in unannounced, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is it's going to be a crazy game. I think Diego was didn't come on our show last time, but he likes to talk smack about what topics we're discussing. So instead of the national title game tonight, maybe we should discuss some Ohio State recruiting. And Perry Eliano, our safeties coach, just got let go today.
Nobody cares about recruiting, right?
Maybe we should talk about that instead.
He would like that. Too good. But anyway, I mean, I don't know where you guys are falling on this game. I feel like everyone is a Washington fan right now. Literally all of the country. If you're not a Michigan football fan, you are pulling for Washington in a huge way. It has all to do with Connor Stallions. And I'm predicting, or I'm suspecting, that there's a couple of fair weather Washington fans on our podcast right now. Is that true? Are you guys pulling for Washington? Or
Go Huskies.
Don't care or what?
Of course.
Yep.
The only thing I go back and forth on that because not that I'm rooting for conference pride or any of that SEC BS. I'm debating on whether it would be more painful for you to win a national title and then have it stripped away from the NCAA, or to lose in the national title and then have sanctions afterwards. I think they would both be bad, but I think probably losing would still probably be more painful because then you won't ever have any good memories.
Stripped though, it's money talks and shady stuff happens. I'd rather them lose outright on the field.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and it doesn't really count anyway. Just because they take a game away that you won. I mean, the game still got played. You still got to be awesome. You've got to be happy about it. It's taking games away. I almost don't even care about that.
And
feel free to strip the games
quarterback
away.
Is an ex-Big Ten quarterback, so technically it's still like the Big Ten winning if Washington wins.
And Washington's like one day away from joining the Big Ten after this.
Yeah, so it's a Big Ten victory.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, Penix beat Michigan by 20 last time they played, and he was on a much inferior team.
Yep.
Indiana.
Well, that Michigan team was much inferior as well. So,
but it was Indiana. That's crazy.
That's true. That's
that
true.
2020 team, that was a sleeping giant of a Michigan team, though.
Yeah.
If they would have played the Buckeyes, I feel like their third string quarterback maybe could have pulled it out against the Buckeyes.
Something must have changed between 2020 and 2021, Jason. I can't quite figure it out. They were
I don't know, man. I think they got better.
Ready to get.
I think
Harbaugh would have lost to Ohio State, and he would have been fired for sure.
I feel like I know where you're going with
their
this.
Third string quarterback.
I just think their game prep got a lot better for the opposing teams.
Yeah, they were more dialed in on really good intuition.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I think I know where you're going with that. Like, Connor Stallions came in like maybe after 2020, and then they just started winning inexplicably. Is that kind of where you're getting with that?
Potentially.
Had nothing to do with the talent, had nothing to do with new
coincidence,
coaches.
I'm sure. Coincidence.
Yeah, there you go. Well, this game's making me really, really nervous anyway. I mean, Michael Penix is so good. Like we said in the last video, excuse me, last night, like Washington transcends your common knowledge about football. Essentially, they've been picked to lose, I think, like 5 times this year, something like that, and they've won every game. And that's what scares me about this game. I mean, Michigan is picked to win. I feel like everyone's picking Michigan to win this game. I'm picking them to win, but oh gosh, what did Harbaugh say? Harbaugh called J.J. McCarthy the best quarterback in all of Michigan history, like just right after that Bama game. It's all setting up for a big fall. I mean, if this was a movie, like Michigan would absolutely lose this game. And I'm scared to death of Washington. Matt, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I've been reading more about the statistical breakdown, and on paper, if you just look at basic stats, like, just standard pass defense or run defense, those numbers are very skewed, and Washington's numbers aren't too great, but they also have faced literally double the amount of pass attempts as Michigan. So of course the numbers are going to be skewed like that. So when you do it by per attempt, the numbers are almost identical. So the pass defense between Michigan and Washington is almost the same, giving up yards per play. So it's a lot closer matchup. I think that the other thing was their run defense is still probably the biggest weakness, but it's also because depending on the teams that you're watching play them, a lot of times they're really using sort of the run as a change up because they don't really have the time to be able to just establish a running game when you're down a couple scores and you're just basically trying to play catch up. So they are giving up 4.5 yards a carry isn't terrible. I mean, it's not great, but it's also not terrible. It's, like their running yards per game is their run defense is a lot better when you look at per carry, and just like with the pass defense. So the run defense is, I would say, slightly above average, and the pass defense is actually almost as good as Michigan's when you look at it that way. But Michigan is going to be pounding the rock, and it'll be interesting to see if they can make some big plays and slow them down a little bit on the running game. But I feel a lot better now because I wasn't aware of how good their pass defense was. Literally double the pass attempts against their defense. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah. Jason, question for you. I know you're pulling for Washington right now. What do you think? Like, what do you think needs to happen for Washington to win this game? Like, they're great at the pass, of course. I mean, everyone knows their explosive offense. That their defense is a little suspect, and that the numbers might be skewed a little bit, like Matt was saying. But what do you think they need to do to win?
Well, this is going to be the best defense they've seen. What's the top defense in the country? So the biggest thing is they're going to have to protect their quarterback so he has time to make a pass. That's going to be the biggest difference in the game because we've got a great offense versus a great defense. And if you put the pressure on Penix and don't give him time to make those throws, it's going to be real hard. So that's the number one thing. They got to be able to keep him able to make those passes. And hell of a pass rush Michigan has. It's going to be a real interesting game.
Yeah, and the pass, like against the pass rush, Michael Penix is awesome. I mean, if you blitz
he
him,
can move, right? He's a very mobile quarterback, and that helps. But man, those Michigan pass rushers get on quarterbacks in a hurry. So we'll see what happens. They're going to have to really close in and contain them.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because I think Michigan might try to blitz him a little bit to see how he handles it, but I don't know that they should really do a lot of that. Because when they were playing like Ohio State with like a similar offense in the sense that they have these like first round wide receivers, a first round quarterback, that they're just super explosive. Michigan just rushed 4 guys on defense and then covered on the back end and made Ohio State earn their way down the field, as Joel Klatt actually used to say. Earn your way down the field. Don't give up big plays, big explosive plays. And that way you might, make them run more plays, means they might make a mistake, maybe more mistakes, and maybe you can hold them to a field goal. But man, I don't know. Like Penix,
well, to Matt's point
those
too, Nate,
receivers, yeah.
Washington has a pretty good pass defense, and let's face it, Michigan's strength is running. So Michigan's going to want to control the ball and the clock and keep running and pressure. If they can do that and get to Penix, it's game over. It won't even be close.
Yeah.
And the one thing though is, I mean, so this offensive line is by far the best offensive line that they've probably faced since they've been good again. I mean, it's a Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. He doesn't get pressure. I mean,
strengths in this. You know what I mean? It should be a really good game. Technically, it's on paper.
Yeah, I mean, and the only real weakness on either team is Washington's run defense. Is not quite up to par.
And Michigan's a running team.
Yep. Yeah, that's gonna be the scary matchup.
Yeah,
it is. And so Michigan won the Joe Moore Award 2 years in a row, and then they laid an egg against TCU. So I'm always a little suspect of. After that happened, I was a little suspect.
Well, they also said there was a preparation issue against TCU. They were kind of overlooking them.
Maybe, but they were also.
I mean, they admitted that
missing blocks. I mean, maybe it was, and maybe Michigan's learned their lesson, or maybe Michigan wasn't as good as we thought they were. Losing to TCU.
No, they were plenty good. I mean, they beat a really good Ohio State team, and then they lost to TCU, who lost by 60 in the title game. I mean, that's not elite, not a very good TCU team. That was just completely crazy.
Yeah,
it's probably one of the biggest upsets in college football history.
But so Michigan losing that TCU game, like I'm thinking about how you don't allow that to happen against Washington, because Washington's better than TCU. Pretty much everywhere on the field. TCU's explosive. They were just hurling the ball up, arm punting basically the ball and hitting the receivers. Michael Penix Jr. he can do that all day long.
So this is similar to the Maryland game, except for their passing game is way better.
Yeah,
similar on both sides actually.
It's why it's so scary for me as a Michigan guy. And the only reason I feel a little bit better about this one is because Michigan didn't have Blake Corum against TCU. He was injured. They had Donovan Edwards, but I mean, we've seen Donovan
Edwards has been a big bust most of the year.
Yeah. And I feel pretty confident that if Michigan had Blake Corum last year against TCU, they would have figured out a way to win. I mean, the coaches for Michigan, Blake Corum is like a warm blanket. He's like a security blanket for them. He's like, You can run him. He's going to get 4 yards. He's going to make huge plays during the game. He's just like this amazing, just amazing player that I feel like if they had him last year against TCU, they were absolutely going to win that game. They may not have beaten Georgia, but they would have won. So as long as everyone stays healthy in this game, I feel like Michigan should be able to figure it out. But again, you never know with this offense. You can do everything right on defense, like Jason was saying. Do everything right on defense, you've got everything, you've got all these advantages, and then Michael Penix Jr. says, "Oh, okay, yeah, well, I'll just throw the ball up and to my awesome receiver, and they'll catch it for a touchdown." Oops, you did everything perfect, but then they just beat you anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think Washington, going in as the underdog, maybe they need to be a little bit more aggressive on defense and take some more chances, just because Michigan is in general not a big play offense, and a couple of big plays that if they can make 1 or 2 turnovers or just huge sacks against Michigan, Michigan is in a 2nd and 15 or something, that's going to be hard to get out of because they aren't going to be able to just run it 2 times to get out of that. So big sacks or turnovers are going to be really huge for Washington. I mean, if they play it and just knowing like, look, we're going to give up some big plays, but if we can, have a few turnovers here and there, or turnovers on down 3 and outs, something like that, that's going to be just what the doctor ordered, and then Penix will go to work.
Yeah, for sure. And I was going to say, everyone in the chat, feel free to post your comments. We want to hear who you think is going to win, what your score is going to be, what are the keys to the game. Send us your thoughts all through the chat.
There's
awesome.
I just got a message that there's like tornadoes right now in Houston. So isn't that where they potentially might get the game canceled?
No, that would be the worst possible thing ever. Tornadoes in Houston?
Yeah, I heard about this earlier in the
happen in
the
Houston?
day, but yeah.
It happened in
this
Texas.
could all be for nothing.
Just a slight delay as long as nothing hits the stadium.
Yeah, but here's the problem. It's a weekday right now. I don't stay up that late.
Well, that's the
I could be
TV,
asleep.
broadcasters don't care about you, Nate.
Well, this is a pretty early start as far as football games go. We've had too many of these football games where they're starting at like 8:30, and that's the listed time, so it's really like 9.
The TV coverage starts at 7:30. There's at least 40 to 45 minutes minimum of hoopla before the game, so you're looking at 8:15, 8:20 before the first game.
and then of course, because it's a title game, after every like kickoff and every random play, there's gonna be like 10
it's going to be a
minutes.
4-hour game.
It's going to be
the Alabama game was obnoxious.
Unless Michigan milks the clock with the running the ball, then maybe that'll be quick.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
No, yeah, the Alabama Michigan game was obnoxious with the commercials.
Oh,
I mean, it was just really obnoxious, like even more so. But yeah, so for Washington, what like you were talking about, kind of like some of the things they need to do. I've heard a lot of people talk about they need to get out to a really fast start.
Yeah,
kind of take Michigan out of their game.
I mean, like Matt said, they're not a big play offense, so if they get down a couple scores, they're going to have to chisel their way back, and that's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah, they're going to chip away
a touchdown.
And also, Washington's really good at getting early leads, but they're really bad at holding on to those leads.
As we saw, you try to give it away to Texas there. That was close.
Yeah, but they do that against everybody. It's not just Texas. They do that to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they need to jump out to an early lead. I don't think they're going to stop Michigan's running game, but if they can get out to an early lead, and it would have to be pretty significant early lead, like 14 points to actually get Michigan to kind of chisel their way out of their game plan.
If JJ gets like 2 early picks like he did against TCU, it's just going to be brutal for your life.
I can see you're smiling, like you're just hoping against all hope that happens.
Listen, put the ball in the hands of the greatest quarterback University of Michigan's ever seen. If you can't
what could go wrong?
Why did he say that?
Who's got it better than us?
Say that JJ is the best quarterback in Michigan history, even if it's true. Why are you saying that right now?
It sounds like a jinx to me.
Oh my, yeah, total jinx. But yeah, I mean, for Washington, I would think that I would say they need to run the ball a little bit. But that's a little iffy too, because their running back, who's actually really good, he's got like 5.6 yards per carry in that offense. I mean, that offense,
Texas,
you should be able to run
Texas
the
shut
ball
him down, but Texas is the only team that shut him down all year. Yeah,
and he's
really
injured
good
too.
Yeah,
and he's going to play, so we'll see. How effective he'll be.
Well, but passing the ball, it's hard to stack the box and makes the running game a little bit easier.
Yeah, very, very true.
But and also, Penix ran a decent amount against Texas too. So that's another thing. Yeah, so
he can run a little.
He's not like a super elusive runner, but he's good enough where he can pick up those 10-yard runs a lot. He's actually in that regard, he's similar to JJ. Probably not quite as fast as JJ, but he can pick up those 10-yard runs.
Yeah, and they'll need to do that too. They're going to need to catch Michigan off balance, essentially. I mean, they're going to need to surprise them a little bit early. I'm pretty sure that happened against TCU as well. I mean, Michigan had a litany of errors against TCU. They had this big run right in the beginning with Donovan Edwards. Then they didn't get in the end zone on a 4th down play. It was some weird whip around play. Anyway, they had 0, big duck egg. Then JJ threw the pick sixes, and then JJ threw what looked like a touchdown pass to Roman Wilson, but they called him down on the 1. And then they fumbled going in on the 1 and lost the ball. So, I mean, there's like 3 or 4 touchdowns like that would have been taken off the board or a 4 touchdown difference in the score, essentially, just with those plays, if they didn't happen. So that's kind of what they have to look out for. But one question, Blake Corum, how many yards rushing does he have?
What we can do, over or under, or you just want a number? You want to throw a number out?
It's too bad we don't have is someone able to pull up on their computer what the betting odds are? You can usually get the prop bets for everybody. I'm guessing his are probably around like 95 or something. That's my guess.
I'm going to say
over under 100. Let's say over under 100.
130 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's. I'm just trying to think. The only way that doesn't happen is if they get, like I said, they get down early, like I'm hoping. and then they have to pass. But
Oh,
still,
yeah.
man, they would have to have like a huge hole to completely abandon the running game, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm. They'd have to be probably
I
at
think
least
so.
3 possessions down.
Because I just know like Moore is not going to just all of a sudden stop calling runs because they're down 2 scores. I mean, I would think they have to have a 3-score
Yep.
advantage before they start actually making a change in the.
Yeah. And it would have
So-
to, if it's early in the game, they're still going to run regardless, even
Yeah.
with a 3-score deficit. You agree with that?
I'm gonna go. This is really hoping that they get
What
that
are you
early
about to
lead, but
say?
I'm gonna hope for
You're
90
laughing at
yards.
your own
I'm gonna hope
prediction.
for
That's
90
never a good
yards,
sign.
which is probably going to be really, he could end up getting like 200 yards and they win by 20 or something. But if things go Michigan's way, but I'm hoping for the only way Washington wins is if they get the big lead and they don't let them run, because I don't think that they can hold Quorum under 100 unless they are forced to pass. So I'm shooting for 88 yards and a couple touchdowns.
88 yards, you think Blake Corum's going to get?
Yep.
Okay, we've got this on video. It's being recorded, so we know this now. And someone is about to join us. It appears.
God, really?
What up?
We have the Maryland guy, Diego.
What's going on, fellas?
This was
Pretty
going
good.
so smoothly.
And is there any volume?
Oh, shit. All right, do you guys hear me now?
Yes.
No?
Well,
No.
I
No,
guess we
we can't
could
hear you.
just continue talking while Diego figures out his microphone, because that's always an issue.
Exactly. Diego, how have you been?
Oh, no.
I'm guessing
I'm
you're
doing well.
you're
You guys hear me
calling from
now?
Michigan, right?
No, we can't hear you.
You cannot hear me? What the hell's
No.
going on here?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but I can't hear you.
What's going on?
Diego, he's punking you.
Oh, that's so annoying. That's so annoying.
I mean,
so Jason.
he can't answer your questions if he can't hear you, by the way.
That's
FYI.
exactly right, Nate. You should be ashamed, Diego. Nate picked up on that right away, and you had no clue.
Well, I've had so many
all
problems
right.
with audio. How am I gonna think you're lying after all the audio problems
Right.
I've had over the years?
1 sec.
So, Diego, we've been talking about kind of some predictions for the game, essentially.
I've been listening.
I think, is it fair to say with Matt Plessinger back, is it fair to say there are 3 Washington fans, fair weather for Washington fans on this podcast now?
I mean, it's fair to say that I am basically a lifelong resident of Washington State at this point.
As soon as Diego joined, I couldn't hear anything.
What? He basically stole your audio then.
Yeah, that was weird.
That
That is weird. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm all Washington all the time today and maybe hopefully tomorrow and a few days afterwards.
I can't believe you guys would say that about America's team. What you should be pulling for America's team. That's all I've got to say.
Listen, if you had as annoying a friend as I had growing up that was a Michigan fan, you would be rooting for Washington as well. Okay,
That's not a jab at me, is it?
Washington.
No, I have an even arguably even more annoying friend named Darwin, who is a huge Michigan fan. I was talking to him today. He was trying to convince me to root for Michigan. He was telling me about how Harbaugh wants profit sharing with the kids. He thought that would like convince me because I'm obviously pro paying players, and he was giving me all sorts of spiel about what a incredible team and what teamwork they've had over the year. All this like weepy sounding bullshit that didn't sway me whatsoever. So I think it emboldened me even more to say that Washington is going to win this game by at least 7 points.
Wow.
Is he denying all the cheating too, or does he just think it's not a big deal?
You know what? I didn't even get into it with him. I mean, it's just useless. He can't be reasoned with. You know, he might as well be JB and Nate on politics. I mean, it's pointless. It's pointless.
Well,
Anyway.
Nate, why people are going to root for Washington? Their mascot's a dog. People love dogs. America loves dogs. What the hell is even a Wolverine? Where do you even find people love dogs?
There was a funny article only the headline I wrote or I watched, and it said Blake Corum might actually be a real Wolverine, and it really fits him too. Just the how like stocky he is, and such like a mean little bulldog kind of he is.
Does look a little bit like he could play Wolverine, a short one, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Wolverine is short.
Oh yeah, I think Wolverines are adorable.
Huh?
I think Wolverines are adorable.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I know what a real one looks like. I was thinking more a one who plays
kind of like a badger, a little bit like a badger.
Like a badger, exactly. They're bad news.
I was thinking more an Australian actor than the actual animal.
Yeah, nowhere near an Australian actor, but
it does not look like Yahoo Serious.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
and
exactly
here's a comment. Comment. Yeah, terrible feeling about this game as a Michigan fan. I think our season ends in a loss. Still an amazing season nonetheless. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I feel like this season very well could end with a loss for Michigan.
Is that person a Michigan fan? That's
I'm
terrible.
Yeah, he said he's a Michigan fan. He's as scared as I am. But you know why? Because of all this bad karma coming from Jim Harbaugh talking about J.J. McCarthy being the best quarterback in the nation and the best ever at Michigan.
Have some confidence in your teams, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But Nate never has confidence. So
have confidence.
It's difficult. I remember the last 2 decades. So
I mean, it's not like they cheated to get undefeated for the year. You should take some pride and respect in what you've done.
I see what you're saying, but you're right. Even if Michigan does lose, it's going to be difficult to say they didn't have an awesome season. I mean, they still beat Ohio State. They still won the Big Ten and beat down Alabama. So hell yeah.
Yeah, Michigan's had a listen. I don't know why you wouldn't be confident in Michigan.
Who's going to cover Odunze? That's my question.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a committee covering Odunze. That guy, no one's going to stop him, right? I mean, he's like Marvin Harrison Jr. No one's going to totally stop him. No one. I mean, it's just like the receivers Ohio State had in 2021. Like, no one's going to stop those receivers. I think CJ threw for almost 400 yards in both losses to Michigan, right?
Yeah, he threw for 350 and then 2 touchdowns. We had 2 interceptions too.
Yeah,
in the second one, I forget the first one. I think he had better stats.
Yeah, but it's going to be a committee, and I think they're just going to play them just the way Michigan played Ohio State's receivers in their offense. You rush 4, you try to get pressure with that, but you cover and make them go the
slow them down, let them get behind the defense.
Exactly. It's a defense that generally has worked against Ohio State. So maybe it'll work against Washington. I don't know. Washington.
I think the thing you'll know right away is at the beginning if you see Michigan blitzing a lot, because that's going to be bad news. Because Washington is not a team that has any problem at all with blitzes. They're not like Alabama, or they don't have like an inferior quarterback who doesn't know how to handle the blitz and the stunts and everything. Anything that Michigan threw at Alabama that was even a little bit tricky, it was an immediate sack. So
yeah,
this offensive line is much better, and if Washington loses, it's going to be because they just can't stop the run game. But the passing game in Washington, even if their running game is hobbled by their starting running back being a little gimpy, that passing game is still going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. How's it going, Antoine? Go Blue. Yeah,
so is JJ going to throw for more than 100 yards today, or what?
JJ?
Yeah, he'll get 150. He'll barely beat how many yards Corum rushes for, but he'll do it.
Yeah, but what's the most intriguing part of this, do you think? I'll show Diego's text back here. That is because Diego is a spiteful hater today. You were a big Michigan fan last week. Went from that.
Yeah, I was. I actually was
a hater.
I was rooting so hard for Michigan last week. So Antoine, take solace in that.
Everybody's tired of Alabama. That's why. That's why you're rooting for Michigan, because everybody's so tired.
No, he was rooting for Michigan because he felt like FSU got screwed and Alabama didn't deserve to be in.
Well, that's okay too.
Well,
but now I'm back to my normal Michigan hating.
Yeah,
don't worry.
So it's Michigan's defense against the offense for Washington that's the most fascinating part, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking about mostly. Is that
it's the Washington run defense. That's the only weak that's the only weakness of either team, other than special teams being fluky. Both teams had fluky special teams, but everything is really good across the board except for that Washington run D, and that just happens to be Michigan's strength. So watch out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really, that for me anyway, it's the Michigan defense against their offense is the story. But yeah, and Antoine's just making probably a good point here. The offensive line, is it Pac-12 good, or is it, across the country good? And we're not gonna 100% know, but they did pretty good against Texas. That's all we know.
Yeah.
And Oregon supposedly had a good defense, but again, that was a Pac-12 defense.
Texas had no problem with Alabama, and they couldn't get by Washington.
Alabama early. Let's make that
that's
point.
True.
Yeah, very true.
Well,
very
for the bettors out there, if the line is anything like it was when I bet on it a few days ago, and you have any feeling whatsoever that Washington can win, it's a pretty good line. I think it was like 4.5.
It's up to 5.
There you go. So
yeah. So Diego, I asked the other guys this question. So Blake Corum, how many yards over under 100 yards? What do you got as far as that? As far as a prediction?
Over for sure.
Over?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. They're gonna ride their little midget to the national title if they can. They're not riding JJ's arm. I don't care what anyone says about how great JJ is. They're not riding his arm. They're riding that little midget.
You're saying that again about the best quarterback in Michigan history, right?
Okay, that is hopefully not true. Because if it is, that's pretty sad.
It probably is maybe if you look at it from a 3-game stretch. JJ probably is 3
from an efficiency standpoint.
I think he was talking about because he had one loss. He has one loss in like 27 wins.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck that. I don't care about that. I don't believe in that for quarterbacks.
I understand. I don't believe in that either. I'm just saying that's why he said
correlated heavily. What I would say is JJ's efficiency ratings, his QBR and all that stuff is so high because they run so much and they keep the pressure off of him. So plus he's got amazing talent all around him. So I just don't buy that. What is JJ going to be at the pro level? He's not going to be shit. He'll be a backup.
I've seen a lot of first round productions for him. So we'll see.
Speaking of backups, did you guys see Jake Browning's girlfriend as a backup QB?
I know. That's to say, it pays to be a backup, I guess.
Ooh.
Wait, now, what did you say, Matt? About is it the draft mock drafts that you're?
Yeah, I heard a lot of people were saying that JJ was going to be first round. I even saw a couple that had him in top 15 or top 10.
Well, guess what? I remember, and I hate to say this because which side I'm on between the two sides on this podcast. I remember a quarterback from Potomac, Maryland, who played for OSU, who will remain nameless, who went number 15 overall to a team located in the place where I reside, and that didn't go so well.
I actually don't know what you're talking
about. Does anyone play well for Washington? Washington
a guy who had a tragic end, Nate. Guy who had a tragic end.
That guy. Oh, yeah. Okay. Dwayne Haskins.
Who owns every record in OSU history. Pretty much.
Does he, Matt? Dwayne Haskins?
JT Barrett has all the records, but that's just because he played longer than anyone.
No. I think Haskins has.
He has probably like some single season records, but as far as it just depends on what you're talking about. He has single season records, whereas like JT has all the
Troy Smith,
all the records for
quarterback
for starting for like 3 years.
Right. No, I was talking single season, obviously, because he didn't play that long.
Yeah, but he had crazy stats because he had probably the worst defense of my lifetime at Ohio State was under Haskins. So he literally had to play all 60 minutes in every game because they were always losing.
Wait a minute. It's a worse defense than in 1995 when Tim Biakabatuka ran for over 300 yards?
Yeah, how many points did they get that game? How many points did that?
Still,
all of these Haskins was having to get 50 points. He barely beat Maryland, and what was that, 52 to something? 48
the one
or something?
where our Maryland running back ran for 300 yards almost, 295.
Yeah, how do you run for 300 yards and lose? That's insane.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you how. Piggy threw a fucking 5-yard pass 2 feet to the right of a wide open wide receiver. That's how, for fucking the 2-point conversion to win the game. Don't get me started.
Aren't we supposed to be doing the national?
My producer is telling me to stop the Maryland talk. What? Should I stop? Okay, I will. Yeah, we've got to stop the Maryland talk.
I thought you had an earpiece. I thought this was like a well-run production.
My producer is close.
Is it your wife or your son?
Even my wife would know to stop the Maryland talk. She doesn't watch football. But
right,
question,
what's the next topic?
Question: does JJ throw a pick 6 in this game?
A pick 6?
No.
He throws a pick, but not a pick 6.
And you still think Washington's going to win?
I mean, I'm not.
How many pick do you think he's going to throw a pick?
Maybe.
There's no maybe in this.
He's definitely throwing an interception, and there's going to be some special teams problems too. Those are the two things that are going to give him the win.
I just don't think JJ is going to be any different than he's been. He's going to have limited attempts. So limited attempts mean limited mistakes, because Harbaugh doesn't really believe he's the best quarterback in Michigan history. He actually believes the opposite, but that's what he's saying to pump him up. I'm kidding. He obviously thinks he's good. He thinks he's good, but he limits him for a reason. I don't think he has the
I got to show this. It's pretty funny. Quovatis, Antoine, you're in trouble. I bet Michigan. And you've lost every bet this year. So, yeah, please take your bet back if you can. It's not too late.
Quovatis. I like it.
So one other thing, Michigan tight ends, they're predicted to do be kind of like the keys to the game for Michigan's offense in this game. They didn't do much against Alabama, but in this game, you're thinking, okay, Washington they're going to be running the ball a lot. Washington's defense is super athletic. Do you feel that way? Matt, I'll go to you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to have to play catch up because Washington's going to get an early lead, and I think the only offense that they have that can play catch up is their tight ends, because they don't have elite receivers. So it's going to be, maybe Braylon Edwards can catch some screen passes, and then your tight ends are going to get a lot. So if I was going to bet on overs, it's going to be your tight end yardage. Yeah,
I think that the tight ends got two good ones. They're going to have probably a really good game this game. Michigan wins. It's going to be the running game and the tight ends.
Going to have to control the clock and
JJ
slowly grind up the field.
Exactly. But in any case, guys, I don't think we have a whole lot more to talk about. It's like getting dangerously close to 7:30.
You just want my prediction because you guys did yours today, right?
Other than the prediction part, yeah. So let's actually get to the calls. Let's see what you guys think as far as the scores go. I think we know, Diego, what you think is going to happen. How do you think it's going to happen? Tell us about how Washington beats Michigan and by how many points.
31-24, Big Penix Energy wins the game on his arm.
You did not just say that.
That's how it's going to go.
Big Penix Energy. Pretty gross. 30. You said 31-24?
31-24.
So they're going to win by a touchdown?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got you on video. Matt, has your prognostication changed since last night?
No, I'm sticking with the 48-42 Washington.
Wow.
Oh, that's a lot of points. 48.
That is a lot of points. I still don't have that much faith in anyone's defense tonight.
That would be a sloppy game. If it's 48-42, that's a sloppy.
Well, I think there's going to be special teams turnovers. I think there's going to be an interception by JJ, at least one. I think there's going to be, maybe a fumble by a receiver or something. But there's going to be that in addition to just Penix going crazy. And then I think, JJ's going to have to open it up, and I think he's going to get plenty of yards too. And then, Quorum's probably going to, get those vulture touchdowns, but he's going to be under his 90 yards. That's my big bet, under 90 yards, because they're going to be behind and having to pass so much. But it's ultimately going to be, it's going to be JJ's first 350-yard game, but it'll be in a loss.
In a loss. A lot of wishful thinking going on here. Jason, the other JJ, what do you think?
Well, as much as I would love to see Washington win the game, I just like Antoine. I don't trust the Pac-10 so much against power conferences. I think it's going to be defense over offense. Michigan controlling a lot of the ball. I think it's going to be 24-17 Michigan.
Wow. Jason's
Wait, what did
pick.
you say? 24-17?
24-17.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the over under is 58.5. Last I checked.
Yeah.
You're predicting an impotent Penix.
Yep,
Wow.
I'm predicting that once the Washington, who played in a lot of the Pac-10, goes up against a power school with one of the best offense or defenses in the country, I think it's going to smack some reality into them.
Yeah, conventional wisdom, blocking and tackling, right?
I don't want them to win. Trust me, I'm rooting for the Huskies, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, I hope you're wrong, and I'm definitely doing the wishful thinking bit, but Quo Vadis is making me feel a little better about it.
Is Quo Vadis? Is that from Game of Thrones?
It's Latin for "Where are you going?" but I don't know what it's from. What he's referring to.
Okay.
Diego, of course, knew what that actually meant.
It's all right. So you study Latin, a useless class.
It's similar to Spanish.
Except Spanish is a lot more useful, I would say.
I guess, yeah. All right.
My picks, I guess. I'm going 34-31. Wow. I think it'll be a really close game.
Everybody's doing high scoring. Okay, I'm the odd man out. That's all right.
Yeah, I think that maybe Michigan has, success on defense kind of early, maybe even all through the first half and even the third quarter. But I think that Michael Penix and that offense make a run, and they come back, and it's going to be back and forth, and Michigan ends up winning. That's what's I think is going to happen. 34-31, Michigan.
Yep.
Listen, awesome. I hope Nate is crying all day tomorrow so that he doesn't annoy me with political conversations on text. And I can just enjoy talking shit only about the loss. It'll make me so happy.
If Michigan wins this, at least they can have their own individual national championship that's not up for debate. Unlike the last one they had where they were co-national championships.
I know.
There's still going to be an asterisk because of Stallions, though, right?
But there won't be a tie, a split.
Yeah, Nate, do you even remember how long it's been since you've had an undisputed national title? How many years?
I think it was the 40s.
Yeah, definitely in the 40s. That's a long time.
1948, I think. I mean, something like that.
That's incredible.
48 or 49. I don't know why I know that.
According to Do Theory, you guys should win. But when was the last time Washington won?
I think 90 or something.
They've won one in 91.
90, right? Yeah, 90.
90,
but I think that
91.
was disputed as well. I think that was it Nebraska?
That's back when national titles would just
Nebraska was a few years later than that. They were like 93 to 95 or something.
Yeah.
I could have sworn they had it was a split national title, but maybe not.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, let's wrap this up. Thanks everyone in the chat. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks you guys. I want to give you a big go blue. I know I probably won't get that from all you fair weather Washington fans right now, but I hope for a good game. I hope for a good game.
I hope everybody just has fun, Nate. I hope everybody has a good time.
Still rooting for that team up north to die in a fire and lose by 6 points in a shootout. That's my prediction, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Because that would be the most depressing, and for the best defense in the nation, or one.
And then right after that, Harbaugh immediately says he's accepting taking a job with like the Chargers or one of the other teams that needs like the Falcons or something, and then NCAA also issues a statement because NCAA has been really spiteful with Michigan. They released a statement like the day you were selected or something, right? Wasn't it like they dropped all that news like the day that Michigan was selected to be in the playoffs just because as a big FU. So maybe they'll give you some more news tonight.
Maybe this is like my celebratory koozie. This is the gaudy one. Only being drunk on special occasions. Beat Ohio State, all of that. But in any case,
game, yep.
In any case, thanks everyone.
Yeah, good luck, Antoine. Although we like you, but we hope your team loses badly.
Yes, you enjoy.
Yeah, you guys basically hoping for a red wedding. Basically, is what you guys are hoping for Michigan. But in any case, yeah, we're going to be talking a lot more. Football might be over tonight, but we're still going to be talking about a lot more football coming up in 2024. So football never ends. Thank goodness. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Go Blue.
Go Bucks.
Go Huskies.
Go purple and gold. Go purple and gold, I think.